Sports card content creators are buying subs and views. I want to use this video to maybe highlight the hypocrisy when it comes to product getting pushed in this space and talk through, my thoughts on the whole situation. In particular, some red flags and things that I like to look out for when I'm trying to work out who is basically buying subs and views and who's basically embarrassing themselves by doing so. And then also highlight to you guys some examples of someone that was called out for buying subs that I think definitely did not, and I want to share my thoughts on that too. So we'll reference a video from Sports Card Radio, which is this one over here, where they highlighted the fact that Roth Cards basically bought subs and views, and it's pretty embarrassing. And it's one of those things that's not new for this space. You've got guys basically doing this thing because they want to try and be elevated within this hobby. Their ego either gets in the way, or they're trying to do it in order to get some additional sponsorship revenue. They want to try and make money off YouTube and all this kind of thing, but they don't actually realize that this is sort of like a nail in their coffin. So Sports Card Radio released this video a month ago. Dustin, the Sports Card Dad, did something today, which is why I'm talking about it, because I thought this is a good opportunity to jump into this topic. Now, just quickly, it was a bit disappointing to sort of see Dustin not reference Sports Card Radio. Maybe I missed it in the video, but clearly he got the idea to talk about Roth from them. But, what these guys, Dustin and Sports Card Radio, highlighted is the fact that Roth Cards has some accusations towards him for buying subs. Now, Roth Cards is a flipper. I'm sure you guys know who he is. And when you sort of deep dive into Social Blade, which is a website that tracks analytics, you can sort of see a blip over here. And, whilst this might not be anything outside the norm in certain situations, in this particular situation, I think it's pretty clear evidence that he was buying subscribers, which means there's maybe something going on in the background with something that he's trying to push in order to make more money, which is all well and good. You can do what you want, but it's just meant to highlight the hypocrisy of, business in this space, because they don't pay attention to these metrics. And, when all these things are bots and all that kind of stuff, they're basically not getting their money's worth. But, Roth's channel, since its inception in 2021, so the bottom one is subscribers, the top one is views. You can sort of see here it's fairly consistent, fairly plateaued in terms of growth, in terms of views, in terms of subs, and that's very much in line with what you see with most content creators in this space. Now, the thing I sort of want you guys to highlight here and focus in on is obviously this spike. So like Sports Card Radio talked to you about 4 to 6 weeks ago, his channel basically gained 52,000 subs in May of 2024, basically completely out of the norm of his typical a couple of hundred to 1,000 or 2 a month. In June, he got 11,000, 10,900, whatever it is, and just stands out like a sore thumb. Now, in the same months, you can sort of see he gained a lot of views, but the thing I want you guys to focus in on is the views to sub ratio. This is the thing you sort of need to factor in when someone has maybe bought subs or not. And I'm surprised most businesses aren't looking at this sort of stuff, to be honest, but you can see over here, he's getting about 100,000 views a month, sometimes a little bit less, sometimes a little bit more, but he's fairly consistent in getting the same number of subs. And the ratio between these two is ranging from like 0.5% to 1.5%, i.e., for every 100,000 views he gets, basically 1.5% of those are going to convert to subscribers. You're going to see most channels have a very similar ratio in this space. Some months you'll have bigger ones depending on a bigger video maybe popping up or something along those lines. But over the average of a channel's lifetime, it's going to be fairly consistent. What sort of happens here for Roth, like I said, is he basically gets 52,000 subs in a month where he got 650,000 views. So just under 10%, which is absurd, right? You're basically going from 0.5 all the way up to almost 10% in 1 month. That does not make any sense. That does not follow his channel's trend or what his channel is actually putting out in terms of content, because nothing has really changed from his perspective, right? He's consistently put out card show vlogs. Nothing's changed. This is a fairly well-established niche now within the sports card space. These kinds of content have been happening for many, many months. We're not in the boom anymore, so it's not something that you sort of expect to sort of see blow up all of a sudden, all out of the blue. And it, to me, looks like he bought, subscribers. And if I was to sort of bet on that, I would be betting that, yes, he did buy subscribers and slowly started buying views in order to hide that information as well. Now, some of you guys might be asking why the number's rounded when it comes to subscribers. That's how Social Blade shows it, because, once you get a certain number of subscribers on YouTube, basically it ticks over slightly differently. So you don't see every one subscriber get gained. You basically only see it gain in hundreds. In this case, it would only tick over when it goes 87.7 to then 87.8 and so on and so forth. You don't see the numbers in between. So sometimes you might see somebody gained 100, lost 100, gained 100, lost 100. And that's because they might have like 87.69 and then it ticks over to 0.7, which then gets triggered as gaining 100, even though they've only lost one sub as an example. So just keep that front of mind. But what's sort of interesting with Roth, like I said, is that his channel art changed, and his quality seemed to have changed. At least I think I did around the same sort of time. So it looks like maybe somebody bought his channel. Maybe he's one of these people that got bought out by one of these repack companies, and they're trying to elevate him and uplift him. But clearly, bought subs, in my opinion, and it's basically a death sentence for a YouTube channel. You can sort of research this. I'm a content creator, so I've looked into it, not in terms of buying subs for myself, but just trying to understand how the algorithm works. And sort of as part of trying to understand that, you read like a lot of forum posts and threads about people that have bought subs and they're trying to fix their channel, because what sort of happens is YouTube stops recommending your channel, because like in Roth's case, he has 92,000 subs, and let's say without a doubt those 65,000 that he bought are fake. So now all of a sudden 65,000 subscribers of his are not clicking on his videos, and YouTube see that, right? Because they sort of assess your click-through rate and all that kind of thing. So if all of a sudden 3/4 of this guy's subscriber base is not watching his videos, YouTube then stops recommending that channel to existing subscribers, which some of you guys might actually have an epiphany here, because you might be subscribed to people that you haven't watched a video for a while, and you'll notice they're not showing up in your feed. That's because of stuff like this, where you just haven't clicked on their videos for a while, so YouTube stops pushing it. And when channels do what Roth Cards has done here, at least in my opinion he has, it kills a channel for that reason, because it basically says, well, 3/4 are not watching it, I'm going to stop recommending it. Which is why I'm sort of not up in arms when guys actually do this, because it's like, you don't know what you're actually doing to yourself here. And you sort of see this a lot in all niches on YouTube. Just read about it, guys. Just type it into Google, and you'll sort of see channels end up having to fall into the trap of buying subs every single month in order just to keep their channel relevant, which then sort of shoots them in the foot, because whatever ad revenue they're going to make, if they are making any, is now being wasted on trying to keep that channel afloat in the first place. It's pretty funny. And it was one of those things that, happened a lot during 2020 to 2022, where channels basically did this in order to get sponsorships from companies within this space. And there's a lot of companies, you might be sitting back and thinking, well, why did this company give this YouTube channel with 5,000 subscribers all this money or all these sponsorships opportunities when nobody's actually watching their stuff? It's like, this is the reason why. The Great Curator 100% bought subs and followers on Instagram, in my opinion. There are many others that I won't necessarily name now that I think did the same thing. And when you look at it through that lens, I'm sure it all starts to make sense. That might be a blip in Rothcard's thing, and it might be genuine, but I think it's like 99.99999% chance that he bought subscribers. Now, I think I mentioned at the very start that I would, reference a channel that had some accusations go towards them, but I want to show you some information that maybe gives some comfort that they didn't, and that is Someone Talk to Keen. And what this guy basically did was very similar content to Roth Cards, although he did it from a dealer's perspective. I like this guy's content a lot, and I've watched him a lot, I've referenced him a lot on this channel, and people basically saw his subscriber count, double, triple in the space of a month, like Roth Cards did, and they said he bought subscribers. And if you jump to sort of Social Blade again for this guy, you might ask the same question, because you'll see these two blips here. You'll be like, that's a bit strange. That looks very much like what happened with Roth Cards. Surely this guy did the same thing. But the thing I need you guys to focus in on, again, is the sub to view ratio. You can sort of see here, he's got a fairly flat line in terms of views that he's getting. Yes, it does peak and grow over here, but that's normal. He grew his channel. And the same sort of consistent, couple of hundred subs a month. Now, all of a sudden, he gets 13,340 subs a month, and you might say that's the same as Roth, but he got 10.5 million views in that 1 month as well, which is very much parallel to that same sub to view ratio, because that's not 100,000 views, that's 10 million views, right? 10 million views, that's a heck of a lot of views. And if you sort of go to his channel and try and figure out where that came from, you go to his most popular videos, 22k, that's a bit strange. 10 million views, where do they come from? Well, it's from a YouTube short, and you can sort of see there it got him 15 million views, and that is actually something that's pretty common with YouTube Shorts. You see videos blow up and then a heck of a lot of subs come with them, just by the nature of people, scrolling with their thumb and just clicking subscribe when they see something cool, which is, also a bit of a slippery slope. I think Dustin talked to this today as well. This whole YouTube Short game is basically a completely separate piece of content to long form videos like you're sort of seeing now. So it's also a trap that people fall into for the same thing that I just mentioned, where you've basically got a channel like Roth Cards buying subs and then having 75% of those not watch the content. If all of a sudden 75% of your subscribers, which were genuinely obtained through a YouTube short, are not going to watch your long form content, it still kills your channel for the same reasons that I just mentioned, even though they were obtained genuinely. So it's just something that I thought was an interesting one to give a bit more context on. You will see blips, you will see genuine growth like that, in particular with certain types of content, like you saw with me actually on screen. I'm showing my own social blade right now. When I did the whole Justin Gamble videos, you can sort of see here, I'm sort of averaging a couple of hundred a month or 200 a month. It's dipped quite a lot lately, but in those months where we talked about, I think this was the Sports Card Therapist and then also Scamble, my subscriber count basically went from 150 to 200 to all of a sudden 600. But from my perspective, I had, 3,000 subs at the time. I'm tapping into a type of content that, Sports Card Radio do a heck of a lot better, right? So they've got 20,000, whatever it was at the time. So for me to sort of make a video in their vein that gets attention of their subscribers, it means I can tap into that. So I've got a pool of 20,000 subs that watch their content that I can pull from with a video like that, which is why you sort of see a spike like that, even though my video views have sort of remained fairly consistent over that time. But from Rothcard's perspective, he sort of doesn't have that to tap into because he's already at the forefront of what he was doing, right? There's no one really bigger than him in that space. Yeah, Card Collector 2 and Sports Card Investor, but Rothcard was already at the forefront, right? He was already that big fish in that small pond. So it's like, where was he pulling those 50,000 subs from, right? They came out of thin air. Whereas for me at the time, it was basically tapping into a channel that basically has a heck of a lot more subscribers than me. And if you look at my metrics as well, you can sort of see my stuff has remained fairly flat. The channel has struggled a little bit in recent months, but it is what it is. I have fun making my content, but like I said, I just wanted to share that context with you all today because not everything is as it seems when you do see spikes and things like that, but it's just one thing to sort of keep front of mind. And whilst these guys are trying to do it because they want to sell their channels and all that kind of thing, they're really short-sighted because number one, YouTube is going to kill their channel, and then the second that a sponsor actually takes a detailed look at their metrics, they're going to know pretty quickly that the channel is actually worthless because nobody's actually watching their crap. It's just bots in various parts of the world. So, it is what it is. This one's a bit different today, but I just thought it'd be good to follow up on Dustin's, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.